Okay.
All right.
So the video we're going to be filming is learning Korean even worth it?
Never. Don't do it.
No.
Turn back now.
Sometimes I see posts online on Reddit where people are asking, is it even worth it learning Korean? Should I just quit? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm a teacher, so I'm going to say yes, right? In some cases, I might say no.
Yeah.
And before you watch the video, let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think learning Korean has been worth it for you? Why or why not? And today, we are joined with the guest.
Forrest.
We're at Seogang University.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite university to film.
Really?
Yeah, because it's got this...
This vine wall thing?
Yeah, I like the vine wall.
Except in the winter, it's not really
Oh, that's
there.
true, yeah.
It's just
gone.
a bunch of twigs and yeah.
So first we're going to be talking about frustrations.
Frustrations.
Have you ever felt frustrated learning Korean before?
In the first month of learning Korean, it was actually the only time I quit learning Korean, and it was because of numbers.
Numbers? Because of the two number systems?
It just was like so hard to memorize like both systems and then to understand in what context to use which one, right? Which I'm sure all of you have also struggled with this. And so that was just like so frustrating to me, especially because I don't like math. And then I was just like,
oh yeah, now you have to do a different number system
in a different language. I was like, that's crazy. So I probably quit for like a month or so.
I was really frustrated, I remember, with sound change rules also, and then also later learning about politeness levels.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't even really know the difference between like formal and polite until maybe like 3 or 4 years into like learning. No one told me about it until I was like on Reddit or Discord or something, and they're like, oh no, there's actually a difference. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And then when I read the explanation, I was like, oh wait, that actually makes sense. But you need someone to like tell you about it.
It feels frustrating, I think, though, because we have expectations. We should be able to learn this, and we see other people who are learning the language, and we might wonder, how come it's taking me so long just to learn, colors? For this, though, don't compare yourself to other people. We all learn differently. We all learn in different amounts of time. Would you think it's okay then to compare yourself to yourself? Or should you just not even do that?
I think it's okay to compare yourself to yourself when you feel like demotivated, and like to like look back to like maybe a week ago, a few months ago, a year ago, whatever, and like kind of remember where you started from and like where you are now, because then it's like, wait, no, I actually did improve. So that's like maybe one time I would kind of do that, but otherwise I try not to care. It's hard not to care, but like try and just be okay with your progress, right?
So we've talked about some frustrating things. What about some not fun things? When Korean doesn't feel fun, what makes Korean not fun?
Advanced grammar that is never used in real life.
Yeah, but you still have to learn it.
You still have to learn it. Stuff like that, like 속담 sometimes as well, like things that just aren't used a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so hard for me to just pull it out of my brain like naturally, right?
Yeah.
And then Koreans don't really use it all the time either.
Yeah.
But then like suddenly they'll just use it, and then I'm like,
I don't know that one.
and then I'm like, wait, I know it, but then I can't remember like what it even means, right?
Okay. Yeah, I think same. And for people who are studying tons and tons of vocabulary, it's also not going to be fun because you're spending all your time learning just vocab words and you might not even encounter many of them. I think, though, there's a bigger thing that can make Korean not fun for most learners.
Sound change rules?
No, I think, well, yeah, but if you don't have any Korean friends or anyone even to use the language with at all, or if you don't enjoy Korean media or any sort of content in Korean.
Yeah.
I admittedly don't watch.
I was gonna say, you don't usually watch
Korean dramas. The
Yeah.
only time I'll watch Korean shows or movies is actually when I'm on the airplane, and only for air premiere, because they have such a terrible selection of content that I'm forced to watch the most mundane Korean TV shows just because I want to watch something. So yeah, sometimes I'll watch movies or shows there.
Okay, but that's like the only time.
Yeah, and
so it's like twice
it's
a
okay.
year.
But I think if you're someone who doesn't have any Korean friends at all or anywhere to even use the language at all, that would be no fun.
Yeah.
As they say, No jam.
No jam. Yeah, I guess for me, I have both, right? Like I'm interested in Korean media, like from like gaming to dramas, variety shows, right? Talk shows, whatever, right? And then I have a lot of Korean friends as well. So it's like if I get tired of TV shows, it's like I can go to my friends. If I get tired of my friends, I go to TV shows. Like I have like different options, so it never gets boring.
So for someone like you, definitely Korean is worth it already.
Yeah, totally worth it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about if someone's just learning Korean for fun? Like there are a lot of people who are just learning Korean. When I ask them why, they say, "Oh, just because it's fun." What do you think about that? Is that a good reason? Is it worth learning Korean?
I think it's fine to do it for fun. Even at work, we have students, like especially if it's my first class with them, I'll ask them like, why are you learning English? They'll be like, for school, right? Study abroad, work,
they have
getting
to.
a job, right?
Yeah.
They kind of have to. But then there's a few students, they're like, I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? They're like, no, just for fun. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. And sometimes those students do like really well because they just are kind of genuinely interested in like learning English, right? But at the same time, I think you have to have not too high of like expectations at the same time.
You shouldn't expect to get as much improvement as quickly as someone who is taking it really seriously and doing that. Okay. I actually learned Cantonese before for a little bit over a month or so, and I did that just to visit Hong Kong. This was back in like I think 2011 or something like that, a long time ago. And that was it. I mean, it wasn't that useful. I didn't need it there, but it was really fun. And I got some discounts by saying this is too expensive. And they're like, oh, and pulled out the calculator and still gave me a rip-off price, but it was less.
So you still won something.
Yeah, I still won. At least I felt like I was. So yeah, if you have a trip to Korea planned and you just want to learn some Korean, just for fun, and you're not really planning on learning the whole language, yeah, totally. It's still gonna be useful. It's still gonna be worth it. Now let's talk about the main topic then. When Korean isn't useful, when it's not really worth learning Korean. We mentioned one of them. If you don't have any Korean friends, or
for sure.
No friends, no language exchange partners, no boyfriend, girlfriend. But I think it can kind of extend to that if you don't live next to any Koreans at all. Like say if you live in like the middle of
nowhere.
Yeah. And you don't have any friends, you don't know anyone or anything like that.
Or rather, I guess like you live somewhere where there's just no Korean community, right?
And you don't want to get online friends.
Like a super introvert or something.
Yeah, I would say in that situation, it's not really very useful. What do you think?
I would tend to agree. Especially I saw people like that at language school. So like their goal was mostly to go to like school in Korea, right? And that was kind of it. And so one of the biggest reasons that they would struggle like and not really improve that much is because they just didn't have any Korean friends. So the way they would speak was just what they learned in the textbook. They couldn't like speak more naturally because they didn't have that like real life, exposure. So yeah, I think friends is like super important to have. That's like your chance to keep practicing a lot, but also like you get to get a lot of listening practice. You get to try to understand another person. That's the whole point of language, is communication, connecting with other people, right? And so if you can't really do that, then personally, and like for me, I feel like it wouldn't be worth it. Of course, there's some people who their goal isn't really to interact with people. Maybe they just want to understand Korean media. But then we talked about that, right? If you want to understand Korean media, then sure, that's fine. But then also, I guess you can't really expect yourself to be like super good at speaking then, because you would lack that speaking practice with people. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
I've said this before. I've studied French in high school for 4 years, and then I studied it continually through college. I did another like year and a half or 2 years. I can't remember exactly. So about 6 years. And I actually got to use it only a couple times. There was like a French bakery I'd sometimes go to, and the owner there wanted me to practice French. So I'm like, okay. But if I had French friends who spoke to me in French, or if I was planning on visiting France or anything like that, it would be so useful to me. But as it currently stands, French is like, it's so useless to me. I mean, I wish I had a use, but it's really not. And I think most people learning Korean are not living in Korea either.
Yeah.
Many don't even live near any sort of Korean community. Fortunately, there are many ways to make online friends,
Yeah.
but there are still some people who don't even want to do that.
Yeah.
I've had people ask me like, well, how can I practice Korean if I don't live near Koreatown? Well, you can make online friends. Oh, I don't want to do that.
Or I also meet people that will try, but then they're like, oh, it's too hard to make friends.
Yes.
And then I have to tell them, I'm like, well, is it easy to make friends in real life?
No.
And then they're like, no, because relationships, this is not even related to language now, it's more psychology, but like a relationship sort of kind of happens because you put in effort to make it happen, right? But then also the other person has to put in effort
Sure.
too. So if both people don't put in effort, then it's not going to work. So that's okay. It happens. Move on to the next friend, right?
Yeah.
Potential friend, right?
Yeah, me as well. Like I have many friends, I have many acquaintances, but my pool of people that I know and can speak Korean with is always changing every year. One person gets married, one person moves to another country, one person has a kid. Any sort of reason means that you might not stay in contact with the same people all the time. You always have to be trying to make new friends. If that's you and you are struggling to make friends, then don't worry about it. It's a normal part of life to struggle to make friends. Keep going. You definitely will find Korean friends. There are tons of Koreans who are interested in making foreign language speaking friends. Definitely there's an audience for that.
And also if you do like put in more effort to speak Korean, I feel like it also makes it easier to become friends and to become closer with Koreans because then they feel more comfortable, right? You know, a lot of Koreans are actually like really scared to speak English, right? So it's like if you can speak in Korean, that makes them more willing to like be your friend.
Even if they want to use English when they meet you, knowing that you can understand their Korean can help them feel less you know, stressed about, oh no, I've never met a foreigner before.
Yeah. Like even actually like last week I met a new language exchange partner, and so her English is like really good, and so we would use both languages when like texting, but then we met at a cafe and then she was like, wait, you can just speak in Korean, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, of course. And so we just spoke in Korean the whole time. Yeah, it's just like really funny that sometimes we do that.
Okay, so we've talked about some reasons then why Korean is worth learning, as well as some reasons why it might not be. But what if you're someone who it is worth learning, but you feel like you want to quit? So we can give some quick tips then for, I guess, motivation.
Yeah, look back to how you were in the past, right? And how you are now. There's gonna be either like a small difference or like a pretty big difference if you really look closely. So I think that's super important. Just like self-reflect and kind of remind yourself like, hey, you know, I did actually progress. It wasn't a lot, but that's okay. You're still progressing. It's not like you deprogressed.
What's the word?
Degressed?
Get bad.
It's not like you got worse. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, we're native English speakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like you got worse, right? You probably have gotten a little bit better, right?
Yeah, just if you're only learning Korean to watch TV shows or movies, you also probably don't really need to stress about too much. Just do more listening practice.
Yeah.
You know, watch more YouTube videos,
Yeah.
watch more shows, podcasts, you know, content that's slightly above your level but not too difficult. Study vocab, grammar, all the basic stuff. And then the more that you do that, you're gonna get better at listening.
Yeah.
No, not speaking.
I guess one thing for people in that situation, especially if you lack speaking practice, you can still write and like, or text or message, right? I know there's like some websites out there or even like on Reddit as well where you can write something and then post it and then natives will like correct it. So that's also a way you can still practice like output, and writing can help your speaking, especially if you're not writing like in an academic sort of.
No, you're just writing like a normal, something you would say to someone.
Like to someone, right? So in that case, I always recommend to students who struggle to really speak, they can't like organize their thoughts and then they're trying to like translate it into English and it just takes so much time, right? I'm like, you need to write more. And then when you get into a conversation about that topic or something, right, it's gonna be that much easier, right? Compared to just on the spot, like,
having to come up with something brand new. Yeah. And then I guess the other thing I was just gonna say is, we've talked about a lot of reasons, lots of whys for learning Korean. And if you don't have any sort of why at all, then yeah, maybe Korean's not worth learning. I think there are lots of cool things, but if you're not someone who has any of those whys, then yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, at least have one or two.
And I think it might help then if you write down if you have a why, what that is. So whenever you feel again like, oh, it's just too hard, should I even keep learning Korean? Then you can kind of open that up and see, oh, is that true? Am I actually learning for this reason? Then maybe that can help remotivate you.
And also maybe it can kind of help you realize like, oh, maybe I need to find some other reasons why. Like I need to find other reasons to keep learning, right?
Another thing to think about is if you're actually being consistent. So if you're struggling and you're wondering, oh, why it's not working, is it really even worth it? Ask yourself honestly, am I actually consistently studying the language? Because a lot of people will tell me like, oh, I'm not really improving. I've been studying for 5 years or something like, 6 months. And then when I ask them, oh, how are you studying? It'll be like, I'm, asking ChatGPT for 5 vocabulary words a day. And like, if you're not actually being consistent and doing some sort of studying.
Also, like, actively studying as well, right? Like it's fine to like learn vocabulary and memorize some words here and there and stuff like that, but also like you need to apply that like vocab and grammar to like hopefully like real life sort of situations. So then you can finally like internalize it and you don't have to like think about it so much, right? It should just be able to come out naturally. So you like just practice, more practice.
I would also add make a log of what you studied. Write down like, oh, I studied, from this time to this time, and this is kind of what I did. It doesn't have to be really detailed, but just something that you can refer to.
Like in your notes or something?
Yeah. Because that'll help, because if you then come to a tutor or a teacher like me and you say, oh, how can I improve? And you can remember like all of the exact things that you're studying, then that's really helpful to me to know how I can help you better. So find stuff that makes you motivated. If you like talking with people, then make more Korean friends and keep making more Korean friends. If you just like playing games in Korean, then set aside time to actually do that. If you like a certain music group, then schedule time for that. Like try to actually make the things that you like, your why reason, try to make them more of a part of your Korean learning. So have you ever felt like this before, like learning Korean isn't worth it? Well, let me know your experiences and your thoughts about this in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Thank you again to our special guest,
Forrest.
And we will see you next time. 1, 2, 3. 그럼 다음에 또 봐. You're getting good at this. You got it now.
Got it. It only took like what, 5 years or something? I don't know.